Hi, I'm Beatrice. 8 years ago, a car accident took my hearing and changed everything. The silence became my prison, but I learned to read lips pretty well. Still, people treat you differently when you can't hear, especially my husband Marcus and my sister Vanessa. This morning, I caught them doing what they always do, talking about me like I'm not even there. I was sitting at the kitchen table when they walked in, coffee mugs in hand. Did you tell her about selling the vacation cabin yet? Vanessa was looking right at Marcus, not bothering to include me in the conversation. Not yet. What's the point? She'll just get emotional. I'll handle it. I tapped the table hard. They both turned to me, startled. I grabbed my notepad, my voice to the hearing world. What about the cabin? I wrote. Marcus sighed dramatically. It's nothing, Bea. Just discussing some financial stuff. Don't worry about it. He patted my hand like I was a child. I pulled away, anger burning in my chest. My son Ethan walked in, headphones around his neck. 17 and practically a stranger these days. Hey, Mom, he mumbled, barely looking at me. I waved, trying to catch his eye, but he was already deep in conversation with Marcus. Something about basketball practice. I could see their lips moving, but couldn't make out everything. Ethan used to sign with me, but lately he's stopped trying. Later that afternoon, I had my appointment with Dr. Reynolds, the experimental treatment we'd been trying for months. How are you feeling today, Beatrice? She spoke slowly, making it easy to read her lips. Same as always? Hopeful but realistic, I wrote. Let's try the new neural stimulation settings we discussed. The procedure was uncomfortable. Electrodes attached to my skull, strange sensations as the device activated. Then something happened. A faint buzzing, then voices, muffled at first, like underwater but unmistakably sound. My hands flew to my ears. Dr. Reynolds noticed immediately. Beatrice, are you hearing something? I nodded, tears streaming down my face. That's incredible! Let's run some tests. 2 hours later, I was sitting in the waiting room while Dr. Reynolds prepared my take-home instructions. My hearing wasn't perfect, certain frequencies were still muffled, but I could hear conversations around me. Then I heard familiar voices from around the corner. At least we don't have to worry about her hearing us. It was Vanessa. Thank God for small mercies. Living with deaf Bea is exhausting enough without having to watch everything I say. My blood ran cold. That was Marcus, my husband of 20 years. Has she suspected anything about the money? Vanessa asked. Please, she trusts me completely. It's almost too easy. They laughed together, and suddenly everything made sense. The whispered conversations, the paperwork I couldn't understand, Ethan's distance. When they rounded the corner, I quickly wiped my tears and pretended to be focused on a magazine. On the drive home, Marcus talked at me like usual, not expecting responses, but now I could hear every condescending word, every dismissive sigh, every lie. That's when I decided I wouldn't tell them. Not yet. First, I needed to know exactly what they'd been hiding from me all these years. Let them think I'm still deaf. Let them keep talking freely around me. They had no idea what was coming. The next morning, I positioned myself in the laundry room adjacent to Marcus's home office. I was folding clothes while he was on the phone, thinking I couldn't hear a word. The transfer came through yesterday. Another 50 grand from her trust into our account. A pause while the person on the other end spoke. No, it's fine. I've been practicing her signature for years. The bank doesn't question it anymore. My hands froze mid-fold. $50,000? My trust fund? Over the next few days, I became a spy in my own home. I'd pretend to be engrossed in a book while Marcus and Ethan talked nearby. Your mom's disability checks help with bills, but we're still struggling because of her medical expenses. That sucks, Dad. Is that why we can't afford the baseball camp? Exactly. If she wasn't deaf, things would be different. Remember that when she tries to get involved in your decisions. My heart cracked hearing this. They were making me the villain in Ethan's story. Friday afternoon, Vanessa came over while I was supposedly napping upstairs. I crept down the hallway and listened from around the corner. Did you get the paperwork from the lawyer? Marcus asked. All set. Once we prove she's mentally incompetent to handle her affairs, we can access everything. The deafness makes it easy. We just need to show she's become unstable. Perfect timing with the Sanderson property sale next month. That's another $2 million we can split. God, I can't wait until we don't have to sneak around anymore. Then came sounds I couldn't mistake. Kissing, clothes rustling. Remember when you first started hitting on me at her hospital bedside? Vanessa laughed. That was bold, even for you. Best decision I ever made. Your sister was already damaged goods. Why waste a good life waiting for her to get better? I bit down on my fist to keep from screaming. My husband and my sister, while I was fighting for my life in the hospital. The next day, I went for my follow-up with Dr. Reynolds. Your hearing recovery is remarkable, Beatrice. How does it feel? I closed the office door. I haven't told my family. Her eyebrows shot up. Why not? Because they've been stealing from me, lying to me, and my husband is sleeping with my sister. I spilled everything. She listened with growing horror. You need to document all of this, and you need an ally. That's how I found myself at Riverside Cafe the following afternoon, sitting across from Olivia, my best friend before the accident. We'd lost touch after Marcus convinced me she was using me for money. Holy shit, B. I always knew something was off with him. He practically cut you off from everyone who cared about you. Including you. He told me you didn't want visitors anymore. That's why I stopped coming. And I thought you abandoned me like everyone else. Never. So what's the plan? Because this calls for biblical revenge. I pulled out a small recorder I'd purchased. First, evidence. Lots of it. Then what? Then I destroy everything they've built on my suffering. Count me in, Olivia said, squeezing my hand. Those backstabbing vultures won't know what hit them. For the first time in 8 years, I felt powerful. I felt heard, and I was just getting started. Olivia came over while Marcus was at work, carrying a shopping bag full of tiny recording devices. These babies are voice-activated and synced to your phone. No one will notice them. We placed them strategically, under the dining room table, behind picture frames, inside the living room lamp, and several in Marcus's home office. What if they find them? I asked, positioning one inside a potted plant. They're looking for a deaf woman, not James Bond. Trust me, their guard is completely down. That evening, I left my inheritance paperwork on the kitchen counter, pretending to be confused by it. Right on cue, Marcus took the bait. What are you doing with these? He asked, speaking extra loud while I read his lips. I scribbled on my notepad, trying to understand my finances better. His face tightened. You don't need to worry about that. It's complicated, and I've got it handled. I wrote, my father left me this money. I should know where it is. Jesus, B, this is why I manage everything. You get confused and worked up. He stormed off with my papers. Later, I checked the recording app on my hidden phone. Every word captured perfectly. 2 days later, I invited Vanessa over for lunch, knowing Marcus would be home too. I served them sandwiches, then pretended to go upstairs for a nap. Instead, I sat at the top of the stairs, listening. The lawyer says we need documentation of her erratic behavior, Vanessa was saying. Dr. Winters is on board. He'll testify that her condition has caused psychological decline. I've been keeping a journal of incidents. Yesterday, I wrote that she got lost coming home from the grocery store. Perfect. We need the competency hearing scheduled before the Sanderson deal closes. Once we're her legal guardians, we can liquidate everything. What about Ethan? He's almost 18. Keep him on your side with the sob story about her draining the finances. Once we have control, we'll set him up with a trust he can access when he turns 25. By then, he'll have forgotten all about Mommy Dearest. I dug my nails into my palms so hard they left marks. The next morning, I met with attorney Gloria Martinez at her downtown office. These recordings are damning, Beatrice. And you have bank statements showing unauthorized transfers? 8 years' worth, plus forged signatures on dozens of documents. This is elder abuse, fraud, and theft. Your husband is looking at serious jail time, and your sister could be charged as an accomplice. What about custody of Ethan? He's 17. The courts will consider his preferences, but these recordings showing how they've poisoned him against you will help your case. That night, I found Ethan alone in the kitchen, looking through old photo albums. "Who's this?" he asked, pointing to a picture of us at the beach before my accident. I looked at my smiling face, teaching 5-year-old Ethan how to build a sandcastle. I wrote, "That's us, before everything changed." "You look happy," he said softly. I was. "Do you ever wish you could go back?" My eyes filled with tears. I wanted so badly to speak to him, to tell him everything. Instead, I wrote, "Every day." He touched my hand briefly before walking away. The moment of connection felt like both a gift and a knife to my heart. I called Olivia later that night. "Everything's ready. The recordings, the financial evidence, all of it. When are you dropping the bomb?" "Next Saturday. Marcus is hosting a dinner party for his business partners. Everyone will be there, including the family lawyer and Vanessa's boss." "You're sure about this?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." Saturday night arrived. Marcus had outdone himself with the dinner party setup. Expensive wine, catered food, soft jazz playing in the background. Perfect for his big announcement about the Sanderson property deal. I wore my best dress and played my role, the quiet, deaf wife who smiled politely at guests. Vanessa kept shooting me smug looks across the room. If only she knew. Olivia arrived as planned, bearing an expensive bottle of champagne. "Oh, this is a surprise?" Marcus said, clearly annoyed by her presence. "Beatrice invited me. We've reconnected recently." The guests included Marcus's business partners, the family attorney Ronald, and Vanessa's boss from the real estate firm. And most importantly, Ethan was there, looking uncomfortable in his dress shirt. When everyone was seated for dinner, Marcus stood to make his toast. "Thank you all for coming tonight. We're celebrating a major milestone, the Sanderson property acquisition. By this time next month, we'll have closed a $2 million deal that will change everything." That was my cue. I stood up, glass in hand. Everyone looked confused. The deaf woman never made toasts. "You're right, Marcus. Tonight will change everything." The room went dead silent. Marcus froze mid-sip, wine dribbling down his chin. "What the hell?" Vanessa whispered. "Surprise," I said, looking directly at them. "I can hear you. I've been hearing you for weeks now." Marcus recovered first, forcing a smile. "Beatrice, honey, this is wonderful news. Why didn't you tell us?" "Why?" "Maybe because the first thing I heard was my husband and sister laughing about how convenient my disability was for them." I pulled out my phone and hit play. Their voices filled the room. "Did you get the paperwork from the lawyer?" "All set. Once we prove she's mentally incompetent to handle her affairs, we can access everything." I played clip after clip, Marcus forging my signature, Vanessa joking about seducing him in my hospital room, their plans to declare me incompetent. Ethan's face crumpled with each revelation. "Dad, is this real?" "It's not what it sounds like," Marcus stammered, looking around the table at his shocked colleagues. "Oh, it gets better," I said, nodding to Olivia, who distributed folders to everyone at the table. "Bank statements, forged documents, 8 years of theft totaling over $2 million from my family trust." Ronald, the attorney, was already flipping through his folder, face grim. "Marcus, this is serious. These are felony offenses." Vanessa's boss stood up abruptly. "I think our firm will be reconsidering our relationship, Vanessa." Marcus lunged toward me. "You sneaky bitch! You set us up!" 2 police officers appeared in the doorway. Gloria Martinez had timed their arrival perfectly. "Marcus Davis, we have a warrant for your arrest on multiple counts of fraud and financial elder abuse." As they handcuffed him, Marcus's face transformed from rage to desperate pleading. Please, I'm sorry. I'll make it right. We can start over." "There's nothing to start over. We're done." The officers led him away, with a second pair escorting Vanessa for questioning. In the aftermath, I found Ethan sitting alone on the porch steps. "All this time I thought..." His voice broke. "They made me believe you were the problem." I sat beside him, I know, sweetheart. It wasn't your fault. Can you ever forgive me? There's nothing to forgive. They manipulated both of us. 3 months later, Marcus was serving a 5-year sentence. Vanessa avoided jail, but lost her real estate license and was ordered to pay restitution. The Sanderson property was mine. All mine. Ethan and I moved into a new house closer to his college. We were rebuilding our relationship one conversation at a time. And Olivia was a regular visitor, helping me rediscover the person I was before the silence. The quiet had taught me patience, but finding my voice again taught me something more valuable: how to stand up and be heard. What would you have done in Beatrice's shoes? Would you have exposed Marcus and Vanessa publicly like she did? Or would you have confronted them privately first? And do you think she was right to reject Marcus's apology? Or should second chances be possible even after such a betrayal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this revenge story of a woman who turned the tables on those who betrayed her, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that explore the complex choices we face when dealing with toxic people in our lives. Thanks for watching.